Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're doing something a little different. We're not digging into a new scientific paper or, global events.
Okay.
Instead, we've got this really interesting source material about a specific creative challenge.
A prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Like a writing prompt.
Sort of, yeah. It's more like a full content creation prompt.
Yeah.
And it gives us this perfect lens to look at how really tight constraints can actually spark creativity, forced creativity almost.
I think I know the one you mean. Is this the Dutch one?
Exactly. The Vliegen Nilparden podcast Uitdaging.
The Flying Hippos Podcast Challenge.
Aren't
Right.
they?
Even the name tells you it's going to be absurd.
Totally.
It's actually a brilliant little setup. So the basic idea for you listening is these two podcast hosts, they get given this completely made-up headline.
Right.
It says, scientists found hippos can fly, but only for like a tiny fraction of a second.
What's a blip?
Just a blip. And their job is just to react to that. Live, basically.
And that's our focus today. Not the hippos fun as that sounds, but the rules of this challenge.
Exactly. The constraints.
The timeline they were given, the specific tone they had to hit, the structure, all these things that really dictate what they could even produce.
It's like a blueprint for making comedy really, really fast. Under pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this thing.
That's it.
So, the starting point. This headline. Why a fraction of a second? Why not just, full-on flying hippos? Seems simpler.
But that little detail, that fraction, that's the genius of it, I think.
How so?
Well, by making it so tiny, so momentary, it instantly shuts down any urge to, research it seriously.
Oh, right. You can't look up the aerodynamics of a slightly airborne hippo.
Exactly. There's nothing to look up. It throws you straight into imagination mode.
Yeah.
Pure what if.
So you're forced to speculate? What does that even mean? A 4,000-pound animal getting air for 0.01 seconds?
Is it a hop? A glitch in the matrix? Did they just measure a really, really powerful sneeze? It forces you away from facts and straight into, comedy.
It kills the temptation to be serious. You have to build on the absurd premise. Like improvisational scaffolding, you could call it.
That's a great way to put it, improvisational scaffolding. Because the source material actually demands a certain style.
It does, yeah. What does it say?
It specifies a hilarious conversation filled with jokes and laughs. That's the mandate.
So, super lighthearted.
Totally. But the structure of the funny can't be like a pre-written sketch. It has to come from exploring the weirdness of that split-second flight.
Just reacting and building off each other's ideas about it.
Right. What are the implications? How would you even measure that? Are there tiny hippo parachutes involved?
It requires some real conversational chemistry then, not a tight script.
Definitely. Trust between the hosts is key.
Okay, but here's a question for, anyone creating content. How do you structure that kind of immediate off-the-cuff conversation so it doesn't just wander aimlessly?
Well, that's where the other constraints come in. They become your guide rails.
You mean the time limit?
The time limit, exactly. That's probably the biggest one. The source says they had just 3 hours total.
3 hours to go from getting the prompt to having a finished episode ready to post.
The whole process, concept, recording, whatever minimal editing they could do, prep for posting, all in 3 hours for a 20-minute episode.
Wow. Okay, that ratio that's brutal.
It is. And that tells you everything about the priorities, doesn't it?
Speed over perfection.
Absolutely. Production triage. You cannot spend time scripting dialogue. You can't spend hours editing.
So what do you focus on?
Identifying the core jokes, the main beats will work. Like, okay, A point. How do scientists even measure this tiny flight? B point. What does the hippo think about it?
Simple anchors to keep it moving forward.
Exactly. Keep it from drifting. Maximize the jokes per minute.
And that target length, the 20 minutes, that's also part of the strategy, I guess.
Oh, definitely. 20 minutes feels deliberate. It's long enough to explore the idea a bit.
But not so long that the joke wears thin.
Right. And it's easily digestible for a listener. Quick hit of absurdity.
But producing even 20 minutes in 3 hours? Something's got to give. What gets sacrificed first?
Post-production, almost certainly. Editing.
Makes sense.
In a challenge like this, you just don't have time to finesse things. No fixing awkward pauses, no complex sound designs.
So you're relying purely on the live energy, the performance.
Pretty much. The hosts have to nail it during the recording. Trust their flow, their timing. It forces this very immediate, high energy, maybe even kind of raw feel.
Deliberately unpolished, almost.
Yeah, any perfectionism just has to go out the window. Speed is king.
And the 20-minute runtime helps with that efficiency too, right? It focuses the mind.
It absolutely does. It's an anchor. If you knew you had, say, 45 minutes, you might ease into it more slowly.
Yeah, spend 10 minutes setting it up.
But with only 20 minutes, you need to land jokes almost immediately, like within the first minute.
Get straight to the good stuff.
It forces clarity. Every moment has to count towards the central gag. It's like the ultimate deadline hack, forcing you to find the strongest, simplest core idea. Quick wit is your only real tool.
And this whole idea, this constrained creativity, it even extends to the sound, doesn't it? The prompt actually mentions specific audio elements.
It does. It says they need lots of laughter and maybe some silly sound effects.
Why make that mandatory? Isn't the talking funny enough?
Well, think about the time crunch again.
Oh.
This is actually quite clever.
How so?
Sound effects like a quick boing or Wilhelm scream, whatever, and prominent laughter are, well, they're quick wins.
Easy to add in.
Very easy to drop in during a super fast edit. Way faster than trying to write or record a complex bit.
Ah, okay, so they serve a purpose beyond just being funny.
Two purposes, really.
Yeah.
First, yeah, they pump up the energy level instantly, make it feel lively.
Right.
And second, they can actually substitute for explanation. You know, a host suggests that the hippo bounces, you add a boing sound. Joke landed. Faster than describing it.
So it's an efficiency trick disguised as just being silly. Audio shorthand.
Precisely. It saves time, maintains the pace, and keeps everything feeling light and fun.
That's really interesting. So the required audio style isn't just about tone, it's a production strategy driven by the deadline.
Exactly. And that silly soundscape, it does something else important. It manages listener expectations.
How do you mean?
If it sounds deliberately goofy and maybe a bit rough around the edges, the listener is more likely to forgive the fact that it was rushed. Because, 3-hour deadline. It fits the whole package.
And that managing expectations thing, you see that perfectly in the visual side too.
Oh yeah, the thumbnails.
The source material is super specific, only 2 options allowed for promoting it.
Which were?
Option 1, a picture of a hippo with wings photoshopped on.
Yeah, okay. The literal absurdity.
Or option 2, one of the hosts is making a ridiculously silly face, like maximum gurn.
Right. And again, that's not accidental, that visual. That's like the contract with the listener.
What do you mean a contract?
It's setting the terms up front. Before you even click play, that image screams, this is going to be completely ridiculous, don't take it seriously.
Low stakes comedy, guaranteed.
Exactly. Whether it's the impossible winged hippo or the host looking like a cartoon character, it signals a tone instantly. It promises speed, absurdity, maybe a little chaos.
So the visual promise lines up perfectly with the audio reality that's been forced by the time limit and the silly sound effects.
Perfectly. It all clicks together. You see that thumbnail, you know you're probably getting 20 minutes of fast, maybe slightly messy, but definitely absurd fun, which is exactly what the challenge was designed to produce.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. The whole formula. You start with a premise that's inherently ridiculous and restrictive, a hippo's microflight.
Check.
You execute it under insane time pressure, 3 hours max.
Check.
Which forces a short, punchy final product, 20 minutes.
Got it.
And the whole thing has to be wrapped in this mandatory, high-energy, kind of self-aware, silly tone, reinforced by specific audio cues and a very specific, goofy visual identity.
Right. It's like a pressure cooker designed for instant comedy. Hilarious, but high stakes for the creators.
So the big question then, what does all this mean? For you, listening, when you're facing your own challenges, maybe professional ones, creative ones.
Well, I think the Flying Hippos challenge shows something really important. Those extreme constraints, the tight deadline, the short length, they don't necessarily limit quality. Not really.
What do they do instead?
They force clarity. They make you zero in on the absolute simplest core concept that can still generate interest or humor.
Because you don't have time for complexity.
Exactly. When time is breathing down your neck, you have to find the minimum viable concept that gives you the maximum momentum. No room for fancy detours.
So the takeaway isn't work faster, it's think simpler.
I think so. Often the most focused, highest impact stuff, whether it's information or comedy, comes from the tightest squeeze. Because that squeeze forces you to identify the single core idea. The skill isn't just being funny or smart. It's finding that one simple thing that can carry the whole 20 minutes.
So the final thought for you is maybe. What's your fractional flying hippo?
What's the single, maybe slightly absurd, but incredibly focused idea that could be the anchor for your next project,
Yeah.
especially if you needed to do it fast to make an impact? Something to think about.